Right, hello again everyone. I just had a power cut, so I've just started live streaming on YouTube again after a few years break, and we're getting a power cut, so it's not exactly good news. Right, okay, let me right, I published a trade earlier. Let's just start with this. This is the trade that I published. I published it on Trading View, Twitter, X. It's in my Facebook. Basically, it's this is a basic trade. This is open for everybody. So you will if you're following me, you will find it somewhere. For example, if we have a look on this is Trading View. I mean, everyone knows Trading View. At least you should do if you're trading. So here we are. It's the same name as my YouTube account. And this is a sell Australian dollar. Okay. So anyway, so 0.9919. Okay, exactly as shown there. And when did I publish this? I published this about 4 hours ago, I think, maybe longer, maybe 5. But anyway, right, the reason I published that is this. Okay, this is quite a straightforward trade, and it's one of those keeps on working. So until it's broken, this should be a trade that every trader's taken. Since, what is it, May the 13th, it's basically been ranging, okay? And you've got like the range high and then the range low. And what I do is I have these 78 points, obviously in the middle it's 50%. And then as the price goes one way or the other, you can either call it 38 points or 61.8, but it's basically the same. From the center, as price goes further away. But anyway, I use the 78.6, and that's my range low and my range high. So once price goes above that blue line, then I try to look for selling opportunities. And then obviously when it gets to the range low, that's like buying opportunities. And what I do is I publish all my trades, okay? So for example, this is on the 5th. I have two types of membership. I have a basic and a premium. And this is a premium at the beginning of the month on the 5th. So it was a sell limit as well, and it got activated, and it ended up with I ended up closing it around 98.80, and that was for like 39 pips profit. So that was a reasonably good trade. Okay, right, let me welcome. Okay, so I closed that for 39 pips profit. That's 0.68. This month's been quite slow. You can look on previous months. I do like 16 and 20, 13. That was quite a slow month, I guess. But this month's been extremely slow, and so I made 0.68%, but that's based on 1%. This is illustration purposes. So if you trade, sometimes I trade 2 or 3% a trade. Okay, so obviously the percentage is going to be a lot higher. But I use that for illustrational purposes. But anyway, so that's what I do is I post them online. Okay. Now I also have this emotionless it's emotionless feature, and what I do is I have the same trade, right, Australian Canadian. But what I do is all activated trades must reach profit target or a stop loss, or they will be closed at the end of the trading month. And the reason I do that is to take away all the human element, all the human factor. And I did it just as curiosity, all right, just to see how my trades were doing. And it turns out my profitability would be like double what it is. So basically I'm just closing the trades too early. Right, let me just I forgot to post this stream on X. So let me just view my stream. One more second. Oh, okay, let's get the. I forgot to post this. Right, so post drafts. Okay, I'm worried about the algorithm, because what tends to happen is, let's say normally I get like right, that was a power cut. I got 47 impressions, and then I post a trade, get 117, but this keeps you on the platform. And then I posted a YouTube link, and then you only get like 30, which is like a third of what I normally get. So I did like ask Al or Google it or whatever you want to call it, and it does say they suppress any link that takes you outside of YouTube, X, which is fair enough, right? I mean, they want to keep all the viewers here. So anyway, my point was they suppress the algorithm. So I'm trying to find ways of I'm trying to find ways. Why is that a reply? Okay. I'm trying to find ways that I can actually boost They told me this is one way. What you can do is you post the original, because that's what the algorithm looks at. And then because I've got premium, I pay like $7 or whatever it is. Because I use premium, it boosts your replies apparently. So, well, anyway, I'm just trying different ways. Okay, so that's one way. Let me. So I'm trying different ways to obviously attract viewers. Okay. Right, okay. So anyway, we'll try that for a second and see how that goes. If more people come along. Right. Anyway, so let's get back to this trade, Australian dollar Canadian. So my sell limit is at 0.9919. And we're working our way up there. So anyway, coming back to almost before, this has worked out pretty well the last few months. Like I said, it's since May. And so I sell at the top, the blue line, or that's where I start to look rather. And then what you can look is for trend line breaks or whatever. And that's basically what I looked at today. Because you had the trend line break. Okay, and normally you get like a retest or something, but this is rather steep, so it's very unlikely you're going to get a retest in this case. So what I tend to do is like you get equal highs, and then it'll form another trend line somewhere else. But anyway, I do just before equal highs, and sometimes so you get a double top sort of pattern. There's not much happening there. It'd be annoying if I get out. That's 4 pips away, and that would have activated my trade. All right, okay. Anyway, there's still time. There is so this is like economic calendar. A lot of people use Forex Factory, but actually I prefer this one, my FX book. And they actually have a sentiment section, which is always quite interesting, because it's always nice to know where market players actually are positioned. So as you can see, like 74% short and 26% long. So you really want to be on the same side as the banks, and obviously that would be the 26%, because banks aren't going to lose money, are they? The only thing is sometimes trends get overextended, and I do believe we're overextended against the US dollar. Okay, or at least we're having a consolidation period now, and then we'll have another leg up. Okay. Right, it's going to be annoying this. Sometimes my trades don't enter because I look for like a sniper entrance. So that just happens. Why is this not working? I got this little gadget. Why is that? I use OBS as a platform, streaming platform. But I got this little widget, or whatever they're called, and it won't load. Normally it tells you how many views you have on YouTube. So it's not saying anything. Right, anyway, so that's one of the trades that's a recent trade I did. It has been quiet this month anyway. As you can see, I've only done 6 or 7. And this month I'm actually got 100% win rate, which is pretty good. And so I'm 89 pips in profit and 1.38. The volatility this month has not been, it pretty much dried up. People say because a lot of people on holiday, but I found the last few days it's picked up quite a bit. And I can see a lot more opportunities. So anyway, this month is 1.38. You could all these all these cover the previous 12 months, okay? So last year I was up 20.68%, but that's based on 1% of default. If you trade 2% a trade or 3%, obviously you can times that amount, okay? But I generally aim for 2% a month, 25% a year, and that's on 1% default. That's like my goal, as it were, year after year. So that turns into a 50 or 75% profit area. Okay. All right, let's look back on... so if you've got any questions, first of all, just say hi. And if you've got any questions, let me know. Right, YouTube viewer. Something's not right about that. Docs. Right, okay, I've just moved something, hoping... right, docs. Right, now I can't see my YouTube chat. So let me look for YouTube chat. Edit. Ah, okay. Ah, okay, here it is. Oh, right, that's interesting. Right, okay, I don't need to do that. Why has that done that? So I can't, I've lost my chat. Ah, okay, there it is. Right. Right, Okay, I guess I can leave it at the top. Welcome. Books. Studio. Right, okay. So I'm back again. Right, okay, where was I? Right, so we're nearly... So this trade's nearly been activated. Let's have see, I should be getting more impressions than that. That's pretty slow. Ah, they have opened it. Okay, so we're just a few pips away from that now. That'll be activated, and then we see where we go from there. Right, the other trades that I'm interested in. Let's have a look at the DXY. I still think we might. There's a good chance we might have one sweep of the lows. To me, this looks like a magnet, the 1.7740 area. Right, the pound, I do fancy selling the pound, but when you get this side, I mean, I didn't know it's going to be sideways, obviously, but at the beginning. But when you get this sideways price action, you generally do get one more high. And this is a very rare setup here. You've had a break of structure to the downside, and now a break of structure to the upside. And this is very, very rare. In fact, there are some patterns, which I shall show you now. Right, just to give you a quick glimpse. You see this Forex patterns, right? What I do is every day I update these patterns that I keep. And it's basically 6 main folders I keep. This is just this month, right? So you have like the trend continuation against the trend. These are the 78.6 fib. A daily break of structure rejection. 50 daily MA range trend, which is what Canada did today, and channels. And then what I do is, this is right. See, for example, now these aren't completed, But this is the Australian dollar Canadian, and then I also write notes on. I might not even trade it, but I leave notes on exactly what happened on that chart pattern. And then this is the pound. So for example, you've got the daily, this is the Friday, and then you've got the Sunday, and then you've got like obviously Monday. So when I actually take the picture, that's that I did today, so that'll be Mondays. But anyway, to cut a long story short, I've been tracking all these patterns, and I have been doing for a long time. So then what I do is you have the Forex patterns, and then this is this month's, and then so this month, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So this month, I've basically been tracking 17 chart patterns. And so what you do is you build up knowledge of what patterns are successful and which ones aren't. And that's what I do now. I haven't been doing it for years. I've only been doing it for the last 6 months or so. And then what I'm then doing is this. I've been doing it for a year, keeping track of all my trades. And the last few months, I've been looking at the patterns. So I've really been focused which ones work and which ones don't work. And I'm hoping this will improve my my percentage, like win rate percentage. And so then, therefore, obviously, you cut out all your losing trades that you got stopped out, and then obviously have a higher win rate. Now, you're never going to totally be 100% correct ever, because even some of these patterns, I can look at one that's successful and one that isn't, and news can influence it, and other variables that you're not aware of. Okay. So, but what it is because you're doing a 2-to-1 win rate. When the pattern does work, you get say 2.5 to 1, but when it fails, you only lose 1%. So that's going to be profitable, right? And that's quite. I mean, that's just simple, you know. So that's basically how I've been trading for the last year, and that's why I'm up 20.68 based on 1% default. Like I said, if you trade 2 or 3%, you're going to be up higher, right? And so that's how it is. Alright guys, if anyone's watching, then come and say hello. Oh, it's still not gone back up. This actually now is a completed structure as far as I'm concerned. Because what happens is you get this down, then you get this up, and then you get this down, and then once it goes higher than that, right, it can go higher, but once it goes there, it quite often goes down. And that's a very frequent pattern. What I'm hoping is this part of the pattern here goes up and obviously sets my alert or activates my trade. Right, let's see how many I've got on. So if you're new to my channel, which you will be because I'm just started, say hello in chat. If you follow me on X, okay, come and say hello. They really suppress. I wonder if they really suppress the impressions. It's amazing. Can't blame them, but you don't want to see it really, do you? Okay, let's have a look on Facebook. I guess they'll suppress it as well. I just opened this Facebook account. Wow, they didn't give it any. It's incredible. I mean, you can understand they want to keep everyone on their platform, but so they really suppress everything. Right, let me send a message. Where's my replies? Can you not, surely you must be able to put pictures. Oh, you can. So look at that, 123 impressions, 51 for a power cut. Why is this all missing? What happened there? Let's try okay, sometimes it's really weird how it's not right, anyway, hopefully someone will come along. Right, so Australian Canadian, it's not quite up there yet. And the others, another one I'm looking at is New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Again, this pair is ranging. Let's have a look on the weekly. Okay, so since April 25, so it's like a year and 3 or 4 months. This pair has basically ranged, but on the weekly time frame. So the blue line is where it's an area of interest at the bottom of the range, and the blue area at the top. And you can see I've got an alert set. That alert is set for 0.5987. I start off on, when I chart patterns, I start off on the weekly, sometimes even the monthly, and then work my way down. Okay. When you just day trading on the hour and 15 minutes, sometimes you can miss the bigger picture, and that can be where the big trades are. So anyway, this is like the daily range. Okay, it just tagged it, and I'm hoping for I do sometimes trade on the first tag, but quite often it depends if it's overbought. Like you see this hourly, it's overbought. Is it 4 hour overbought? I can't remember now. Right, okay, the 4 hour is overbought as well. It's gone to 74.5. And normally when you do get a 4.5 overbought situation, it normally the RSI corrects itself and makes one more high. And sometimes even a few. It's not done that in this case. But that's why I've set my alarm, anticipating another high. So that was one of them. The other, I forgot to mark the screen actually, okay. Now another thing that was interesting was there was a US dollar Canadian gap. But because the gap was an important one, it's more like political. Sometimes political gaps take a lot longer to fill than just general gap opens, okay, due to the weekend. Political ones can stay for a lot longer. And they're the only trades I'm really interested in at the moment. So I've got the pound. Actually, I've got the pound dollar, New Zealand dollar, and the Aussie Canadian. New Zealand Canadian, if it does make another break of structure, because quite often these pairs on a daily time frame, if you actually look at the break of structure from the pip when they break it to the high, that's 8273. So it's 20 pips, and then it dropped 8124. It dropped 170. So quite often when you get like these break of structures, they don't, because if you were buying this pair, once you've bought it, that would be your target. So you're going to exit. And I personally wouldn't want to buy at the top, especially when you look at it. This has been going on since February, beginning of this year. So quite often I've always found these patterns are quite good. You get break of structure, and then you sell, and it's got quite a high win rate. In fact, actually, it's good. It can be even 3, 4, 5 to 1. So anyway, that was another one I was looking at, but I took the Aussie Canadian. Oh, I've got to tag this. This is another one that could be interesting. If we go to the weekly, I must have deleted the fib. But if you look at the fib, okay, there you go. Anyway, so I delete the fib because to make it not messy. So this is the weekly fib retracement level, which is quite a good level on first attempt. It can quite often act as support. Again, look at that. It's made a break of structure. This was a rejection straight away. And if you look at the chart patterns that I mentioned before, where are they? So here is my daily break of structure rejection. So this is on the daily. This was 29.3. It literally broke it by 2 pips, and then you got a rejection straight away. And look how far that went up. It corrected like halfway. Ah, hello. That's from Twitter, right? I don't know your YouTube handle. It is from Twitter. Is this you, right? I don't really know your first name. From X, right? So it's Finance C Pro, right? So are you in Abu Dhabi? And you're a professional tax agent, okay? I guess. Okay. Well done. Thank you for what you look like you're laughing as if it's like you pretend to be. Right, anyway, thank you for replying. Okay, on X, and because I've been on it for a year and doing them trades, but it takes a long time to it takes a long time to build up from scratch, you know, because a lot of people don't trust you. And even though as you know, on my Excel, do you have a look at my Excel sheets, all my trades? Do you look at the Excel sheets? Do you? I would imagine you do, right? Just to check that I'm not not making any lies, right? Anyway, the whole point was to publish all my trades, okay? That was the whole point, so that people start trusting you. And then, yeah, exactly. So you know, right? Everything I said is true. And to give you an example, right? Okay. I'll show you now. This is my folders. TV trades. That means trading view. So I have my basic membership and my premiership membership. Right? So this is the basic membership. I've got all of 2025, all of 2026. Okay? And when I started off last August, that'll be the 8th, okay? There you are. I keep every single trade I've ever done. Okay? That's September. That's all the trades. They're the basic members. And then I also keep the premiership memberships. Basically, every trade I've ever kept. Okay? And what I do is, for example, you can choose one. You can choose one in July or whenever, because that's last month. You take any trade you want. It all lines up with all these Excel sheets, okay? And let's say, for example, number 9, that's a premiership. Because the premiership, sometimes people could say, oh, did you really do it, or whatever, you know? If you look at the timestamp, right, that's UTC. So if you look at the timestamp, that's the actual trade, and you look on your Twitter feed, because your Twitter feed or X feed will be at your local time. So this is UTC. So if you look at what the equivalent is UTC, you can see exactly when I publish the trade. Okay? And it all lines up. And on X, I've sent a trade out to members, and that should be within 1 or 2 minutes of the timestamp on the actual trade. So I tried to make it as legitimate as possible. Okay, so my question is, do you trust me? Do you believe what I'm saying is true? Can I ask you that? I'll just wait for you to reply. Do you believe actually I do what I say I do, right? Okay, I'm just waiting for you to reply now. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And you know the funniest thing is, right, about all of this. Okay, I don't know another way where I can prove to people, right? I honestly don't. And in my Discord, right, I have a Premiership channel, Premiership membership. So this is why I do the video, to prove 100% transparency. And obviously it's got the date of when this is 11:15 today, you can see, but that will be my time, okay? So this is another way that, actually let me close this, where I try to basically say to people, look, I do what I say, you know? And that's why I've started these transparency videos. So that, whatever. Well, anyway, that's it, you know? So, I mean, and I want to build up a group. I don't know, if I could get 100 members, I shall be really happy, you know? If I could get 100 people and then have some form of group, okay? And then go from there, I don't know. But it is difficult getting people. They just don't, I feel like they just don't trust you. And it's incredible, and that's what I'm trying to do, gain the trust. Publish everything for a year. So if you've got any ideas, right? We got our DXY retracement. Hope you bought the dollar. I haven't yet, right? Because, okay, you're saying we've got it. That means we've already got it, right? I did say to you, I think one of the tweets on X, that I will buy it on Monday or Tuesday, because I sometimes I used to jump in early, but I don't do that as much now. Right, I'm actually looking at the New Zealand dollar as another good trade, and the reason why is if you look on the monthly, right, it's at the 50 monthly moving average. Okay, you look on the weekly, we're sat on the 200 weekly moving average. And what tends to happen on first attempt, this is very difficult to break. So you tend to get a retracement, maybe 50 pips, and then you get another run at the highs. So I might sell GU. I also might sell the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. But anyway, what I've started doing this last 6 months is it touches it once, it comes down. This looks like a bull flag to me. And then when I get another run at the highs, I'm hoping for a minor break of structure, just a minor, by a few pips. And then we get the drop. And when I look at all the patterns that I've been studying, this is what tends to happen. You get one more run at the highs, and then you get a drop. Okay? So that is what I'm looking at now. But I mean, nothing's perfect. Okay, it isn't. So I mean, sometimes you get an automatic rejection, like I did on the euro, US dollar, but that was on the weekly. Okay, you had that rejection there last Monday, and it dropped 50 pips. So you never really know, right? Okay. But how long have you been trading? I believe you've been trading for quite a while, right? I just get that impression. How long have you been trading? So how long have you been trading? I hope you're still there. You're doing someone's tax returns. Yeah, okay, fair enough, yeah. 5 years. Yeah, just the way some of your replies. IPKR, what does that mean? I IBKR, what does that mean? I could tell by some of your replies that you weren't a new trader. One of the ones, when that GU, I think about a month ago now, let me have a look. When it really accelerated and hit this same fib level, right, that's weekly. Oh, interactive brokers. When GU, that was it. It was on the, I'll tell you what day it was. I think it was this trend here. Yeah. You might not remember, but on May, the 1st of May, I think, oh no, it was here. This is the day. It was on the 15th of July, okay? That was just a massive, massive day for the pound. And you said to me, sell it at Euro time the following day. And that was 100% correct. And I just knew that you are someone that had been trading for a while. Because a new trader would just not know that. They might sell sell the GU, but they actually wouldn't give the time. And London Open or European Open is pretty similar. That would have been the best time to sell it. Because that's when you start getting the volume in. Okay? There was nothing wrong with selling it before, but that's when obviously the bigger volume. And when you told me that, I just thought, right, this guy's obviously been trading for a while. Okay. And so how many trades have you actually copied in total? You copy like, I don't know, 50% or something, or all my basic trades or whatever? Do you copy quite a lot, right? Or at least have a look, I guess. Yeah, because of the way I trade, okay. Let me have a look at the euro. See, over time you'll start to know how I trade, and the euro trade is not something I would do now. Okay. Okay. Right. This is not something I would trade. The trade was, I actually missed it. Okay. And the trade was down here. And just to give you a quick clue, I use 78.6% fib on many of my trades. And what I do is, you can see you've got this high in 14th of April. So this is a pretty big, well, this is the start of a new wave. So I take that low, then I take the high, and whatever the 78.6 fib is, that's an area of interest. And I do that across every single currency pair. So if you looked at it, that would actually be 84.62.8. And the low was 54.7. So I actually would have been 8 pips out. And now some people just trade gold, and some people only trade GU. But if you're only going to do this 78.6 fib, that might take a month to reload, right? So you might only get 1 or 2 trades a month on each currency pair. So that's pretty slow progress, right? If you're only trading GU. So if you trade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, 20. So if I'm looking at 30 different pairs, I don't know what it is, or 25, 30 pairs, and each one loads maybe once or twice a month, that gives me 30 possible trades. And the beauty about the 78.6, if it does, you've got like a zone area, and for the trend to continue, then you are going to get buyers step in. And this particular area is sometimes where you get the big banks and hedge funds, and you get some big players there. Yeah, I've looked at that. Right. Can you remember my Euro New Zealand trade I did a few months back? I sold it up here, I think it was. Right, Euro New Zealand, I sold it around 2023 because this was the protected high. So 20236. 20236. Right, let's have a look. 20236. Two oh two three six. 20236. Right here, right, okay, here we are. Oh no, that was the one I bought at. Right, okay. So I bought it at 1.9530. Oh no, it was a month before. 20207. Ah, here we go. Right, yes. So my trade was selling at 20207 and the high was 20236. So that was 29 pips, right? And I picked the high. Okay. Now the reason I did it was this made a break of structure to the downside. So if you do a retracement, okay, so the 78.6 is around 201.29, but this is quite a strong, this is my zone. Well, anyway, you understand my point. So I basically was within like 20 pips. Now, I would have collected that because that was like the last day of the month, or the day before. So I actually only made 44 pips profit. Okay, but now we're where? 195. So if I'd have let that run, that would have been 700 pips profit. Okay. So that is in June. Let's look at the emotionless trading. Okay. So June, the emotionless trading, that made me 1.21%, and I had to close it at the end of the trading month. Okay. Do you ever have a look at my emotionless trading? Do you look at that Excel sheet? Do you understand? I guess you will understand everything, right? Do you have a look at that? I know, it's incredible, right? So I'm using that. I'm using that to try and influence my trading, you know, because this is a mind thing, you know, this is the human factor. And I'm trying to like teach myself to like let your trades run. But if I didn't do that, I would never know about it, right? Or at least where it's double, it's like 100% again, you know? So anyway, this is the whole point of me analysing this and keeping track of everything. And I mean, and this is just truly unbelievable. So in 6 months, that's 2.5, that's 2.6% a month, right? Profit. And that's on 1% default. That would put me on 30% a year, 32% a year. You use 2%, 3% a trade idea. That's 100% profit. And anyone who's doing like $100,000, $200,000 accounts, right? If you're making 100% profit a year, that's like serious money. Yeah, there's many factors, right? But with today's era now, I would recommend prop firms, right? So once you pass your prop firm, you might take 2 or 3 goes, right? Because you want to do it quickly. Anyone then, if you get like a $50,000 or $100,000 account, right? All you do is automatically copy all my trades. You're going to get 50% a year. That gives you 25, 50 grand a year just on copying my trades, you know? And that's what I wouldn't say that's what I hope for, but if anyone become a premium membership, because that's all trades, right? because some of them are basic. Right, that Euro New Zealand was a premium member, okay? And that's $100. It's $2 a week. It's nothing, you know? And let me show you. And with that $2, right, let me. This is oh, what it was is I didn't want to show people's names on the left hand side. Well, anyway, I send messages with WhatsApp and Discord. Well, anyway, if you want to join, that's up to you. Okay, I'm not too bothered about it so much at the moment because I'm trying to obviously attract people. I need now I've done the homework. Now I've done a year's worth of publishing trades online. Now I need to get the volume of people coming, you know. And then when you get the volume of people following you or on a daily basis, then obviously some people will buy because they're working, they don't have the time. I send my trades via WhatsApp. Anyway, you can understand the business model. Okay, and then I want to become a premium member, and then I can start about teaching people using my particular style. Because if you go on a training course for $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it costs, they do not teach you how I trade, and I know that for a fact. Okay, so they teach you against Fibonacci, they teach you about support and resistance. Okay, but I do not. That's not how I trade. I trade zones. Okay, start giving you an example. Okay, this is quite straightforward because you have the Aussie, Australian dollar, Canadian. This has been ranging, okay? And that's pretty straightforward. Now, all pairs, and I mean all pairs, range, but they don't range all the time. So, for example, you have to look on the bigger time frames for this. Okay, so this went up, and now it's started to range. So when it's bullish, you should know by fundamentals, right? And then once it starts ranging, that's when this pair becomes more of an interest to me. Okay, so well, anyway, it's a little bit. Obviously, it's a lot more complicated than that, but that's what I'm looking for. But when you get a break of structure, normally it comes back inside, because people don't like to, especially on the bit. I'm not on about a 1 hour break of structure or 4 hour. I'm on about a daily, weekly break of structure. It's already moved a big distance from this break of structure, 1.14 to the high. It's already moved 700 pips. So it's very rare for it to move another 200 pips. It does happen, you can see it here, but it's very rare. What it tends to do is to come back inside the range. And that's actually what I look for. So this would be my stop, and then I would take profit at 23.6 or 38.2. So I hope you understand that. You should understand that. Yes, some traders follow a lot of indicators, yeah. I do follow the moving averages, okay? Some of my, the chart patterns, and one of them is like, it's got an 80% success rate, right? Or 90%. And, well, actually, I've only got 2 people viewing. This is a premium memberships thing that I'm showing you now, okay? So let me look at last month's. Right, here you are, the 50 daily moving average, right? So as you can see, I actually had the euro pound as one of them. Let's look at the right. Let's look at the US dollar Swiss franc. Right, just move this to the side. So the US dollar Swiss franc. I have to go on the daily. Okay. So here you are. You get the breaker structure. Okay, as you can see. It went up 81.70. It went up by 40 pips. That's one trade I'm looking at to sell. And then I'm looking for it when it tags the 50 daily moving average. Now, sometimes it doesn't tag the 50 daily moving average. Okay? Right, as you can see on this. So what I do is every day I'm looking at, okay? And what I do is I then write notes on what happened and what didn't happen. Okay? Now, bear with me, right? You see the protected low, and it's at 80.10, okay? This big down leg never tagged the protected low, okay? So the protected low is 80.10, and the actual low was 80.37, okay? So what you do is you go down on the lower time frame. Okay, so my protected low is here, which is 80.10. So you go from the protected low, right, to the high. Okay, so that's roughly. And the level you look at is a 78.6. So now I'm not looking at the 50 moving average, which would have been 80.28. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at the 50, 78.6 retracement level, which would have been 51.6. And that is where you buy it. And what generally happens is it's obviously going to go a few pips beneath, and then you get the rebound. So you don't actually buy it at the 50 daily moving average, okay? You buy it slightly before. Now your profit target, all right, where is it? All right, okay, let me do it so you can visually see this on every time frame. So I want you to visually see this on every time frame. Okay, so now so I'm going to buy it at 80. I'm going to buy this around 0.8051 with my stop under the protected low. So my stop's 40 pips. All right, now let's go to the 1 hour time frame. Okay. So here we are again. You've got 80, you buy it at 0.8051. You've got the protected low, okay? And now what I found by looking at this trade, once you've got the, you're already in the trade because you've bought it at 80.514. You take the high to the low, and at every single time on this pattern, the minimum retracement is 50%. So if you buy it, you would have bought it here at 8051. Your take profit is 81.23. That's a 73 pip gain for a 40 pip stop loss. That's nearly 2 to 1. And this particular trade so far has an 80% win rate. Does that make? Did you get all of that? Because that might be complicated for some new traders. But did you get all of that? I'll just wait for you to reply. Yeah, so you got all of that, right? So anyway, let's bring back. So that is the 50 daily MA. Sometimes it tags it, sometimes it doesn't. But you're not looking to tag it. You're looking for the 78.6, which you buy, because sometimes it can be a big drop, right? And it can scare you. But you just have to trust the patterns. You trust from looking at these time and time and time again, right? Which is what I'm doing now. So there was 4 last month. And on every occasion, this just finished yesterday, I think. I don't know what day this was. Well, anyway, this is just to run you through. It didn't tag, you can see it didn't tag the 50 daily moving average, okay? Blah, 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 blah. Right, anyway, okay, let's go back. So you want to go on the smaller time frames. Right, okay. So here you have the protected low, the external low. That's a protected low. You buy it at the 78.6 fib. Actually, that was the same pair. Sorry. Well, anyway, I can go through them all. Okay. I know that was a channel. That was a 50 daily moving average. Okay, but it was in the form of a channel. Anyway, I've done 4 this month. Every single one of them was successful. And in previous months, maybe I've had one fail or something like that, which has obviously knocked the percentage down. So that is something a new trader would never do. You need to be experienced. You need to understand the protected low, the 78.6 fib, because you are trading that blindly, a little bit blindly, okay? But anyway, and well, that's it. Actually, here was another one. Oh, this is US dollar Swiss franc. Right, anyway, that's why I do it. But that has to be, with that trade, that has to be a premiership trade. Because it's happening so quick that I just don't have the time to publish it. Right, so generally, when it's something like that, I just do it as a premium trade, and then I do a video to explain that to premium members. Okay, if I posted that on TradingView, people just wouldn't get it. It would be too complicated to understand, and it's just left as a premium member. That's one of my special trades. And I'm telling you, right, because you reply in my chat, right? So you have to reward people. I have a premium member on Twitter. And people like you boost my post because you reply. It like causes engagements or whatever. So obviously it's beneficial for me, you know. So that's a thank you on my side, right? So this is what I look for. You look for more engagement, and then X will push your posts outside your own followers. Right. I hope you're still there. I'm not going to stream every day, right? What I plan on doing in the future is stream when I think there's going to be a position, or when there's something interesting. Okay, I want you to bear with me, right? This is obviously my Twitter. Let me go back to this. I don't know if you watch all my videos all the way through. Oh no, it's back here. But I posted an educational video, right, on the euro dollar. Here it is, right? This video. Did you watch this video to the end? It talks about buying the euro dollar before FOMC. Did you watch this video?
It actually tagged 38.2% of 51.1614. Okay, and there was a lot of upside.
Did you watch this video to the end?
Obviously, this all comes down to risk and reward. We've got the 54-hour moving average. We make another run at the highs, right? Or the 38.2% of the weekly.
Right, so you watched the video to the end, right? Now I want to show you something. Sorry, I've all right, let's go back. Well, this is that video again. And you can see I had 554 impressions, right? Now, out of them 554 impressions, well, I'll quickly show you. Right, so I only had 2 engagements, right? And then I had metrics for the video. Engagement actually is someone that clicks it. That doesn't mean someone who views it. Now, what percentage, right, of people do you think watch the video to the end? Not impressions. What percentage that people started watching the video? What percentage watched the video to the end? What percentage do you think? So what percentage of people do you think watched that video from start to finish? What percentage? What percentage? The actual impressions is irrelevant, to be honest. It's just, because this is just a percentage answer. Right, okay. So anyway, I had 51 unique views, right? And there was 195 free. So this is the percentage that watched the video to the end. 2%. 2% of people watched that to the end, right? So out of that 51, 2% would have actually would have been one person, and that might have been you. So if you watched it to the end, you could have been the guy, the person who watched it, because 1 in 51 is 2%. So 134, 3%, 1 minute, 4%, right? Now that to me is just mind-boggling. I proved to people, right, that I make money. I prove to people that I show my trades, I'm profitable. So I do an educational video and no one bothers watching it to the end, right? I even then had follow-up posts, like the next day, right? Because that educational video was the day before, right? I even had posts, like, will it be 30 pips higher on, not this one, this is it, this is the one. This is where price action was at 158.83. So I said, like, FOMC minutes, it will probably make a run of the highs. Okay, there's a good chance this is going to happen, right? And one person, which is probably you, watched it to the end. I mean, I honestly, I mean, it's mind-boggling. You know what I mean? So maybe, do you know what I was thinking? To rent out a Lamborghini or something like that, right? And then people see you in a Lamborghini and they think, oh, I must be doing well. Because when you're just honest, it's almost as if people aren't interested, you know? You have to have some gimmick to convince them you... I just don't know what to say. I honestly I'm stuck for words, you know? But I'm guessing that could be the younger crowd. Maybe the older crowd, they look more detail. I don't know. So if you've got any ideas how to attract more people, just let me know, you know? Right, well anyway, so I'm trying out different methods, okay, and we'll go from there. But so my idea in the future is just to open this stream when there's something interesting coming along, okay? Right, the Aussie dollar, it still hasn't tagged it. Right, the problem with this trade, the Aussie dollar Canadian, is if it enters today, okay, fair enough, it's already entered. But if you look at the economic calendar, we've got CPI tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning, right? So inflation rate. And I don't want to be on the wrong side of that. Now, if I enter, fair enough, there's nothing I can do. So the way I generally do is this. If I'm sitting at 0.99, I will not keep the trade open, because it has to. If it's going to go up 20 pips, it might go up 40. I'd much rather, if it goes up 20, then you can fade the strength or whatever. The chances are I won't look at it for a few days. So anyway, I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. Now, if I'm in the trade, there's nothing I could do. If I'm in the trade, what I generally do is wait for the news to come out. If it's as consensus, I leave the trade running. If it's higher than expected, what you tend to do is you tend to get the spike, and then it retraces the spike literally 5 seconds later, and then you get another burst up. So when it retraces the spike, I try to get out then. So I might just take a 10 pip loss. And then once it goes up again, then you just let it go. And then maybe, because this is a range, because this has been ranging, I might look at it again, maybe might not. But there's a good chance if inflation's high, this might break out of this range. And then you're going to get a break of structure. Then I can fade the break of structure and look for a 23.6 retracement of this level since 0.978. Okay, something like that. It can get a little bit complicated. I'm sure you understand, but it can obviously get complicated. But that's something that I will look at. So it depends on price action whether I cancel that trade or not. Anyway, that's it. So thanks for looking. Thanks for watching. And what I'll do then is I'll notify you when I'm online. Well, you've got a YouTube channel. Just subscribe, and then get all the notifications, right? And then obviously you'll know when I'm online in future. Yeah, it is overbought. But even though it's overbought, that's why I've sold it. But because of the CPI tomorrow, you don't really want to be on the wrong side of that. So you have to consider all things, right? You know. So anyway, I hope to see you again. Even if you're busy, right? You can just turn your phone on and leave it to the side, so my channel's in the background. So it looks like I've got more viewers, right? So I need to start doing little things like this and build up my viewer count, because people, the fact that I make money, they don't look at that. They look at viewer count, and some people won't even bother because I'm not trading gold, right? And you just can't persuade them otherwise. So, but people who can see through all of that, they should start following me. But that takes time, like anything. Okay, it's Mohammed, I guess, right? Okay, Mohammed, I'm off, kids. Thank again for following my stream. So subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Okay then, all right. Take care, everyone. Okay, goodbye.